What do you get when you have a piece of twine, a passage from Philippians, and some succulents? Well, find out on That Deacon on YouTube. Hello and welcome to That Deacon on YouTube. On Saturday, June 1st, Sherry McSweeney, our preschool director and altar guild member and longtime parishioner, and I offered our last Morning Apart program for the year. And this time it was entitled Spring Cleaning, Letting Go. We weren't sure if this idea would resonate with people, but we were surprised as the date got closer and closer. We started receiving more RSVPs than we thought we would get. The initial count for that Saturday was 16 people. And by the time we started, we were only -2, so we were down to 14. But that is a very nice turnout. And we were surprised that, for some reason, that idea of letting go really resonated with people. Typically what happens is people arrive around 9:15. Outdoors, we have on our information table right next to the entrance to the church, we have coffee and tea. People can visit for a little bit. But when they walk into the church, as you can see, when I showed our setup to you, people are all seated in a circle and there's music playing. I put together music that is somewhat meditative. It's not really of this world, but it's not always confined to something that you would associate with church music. This time I was very happy to include a movement from a piece of music that I've been working on of late, entitled Garden Dances. I'll play a little bit of it for you as we show pictures from the day. But this music is designed to pull people in, and once we're all pulled in and gathered, we kind of instruct people as to what they're going to be doing that day. And what we did that day is pretty simple. Even though new people that do come to our mornings apart may struggle with this, but a majority of the day is being quiet, not talking, sitting and pondering. Everything is based on a passage that we gave them. People might journal. People might write poetry. People are left to their own design, but the only request we ask them is to be quiet and to be still and to work on that interpersonal relationship they have with God and the Spirit and the moment. This time, we used a passage from Philippians. I put it down here. We used a passage from Philippians from chapter 4. This passage from Philippians really worked out, and I highlighted just a few moments from it because we used chapter 4, verses 4 through 9. As you can see, it's somewhat long, but I think this set up people to spend time by themselves so they can sit and figure out what in their life might need letting go. So it begins with celebrate God all day, every day. And that's just a perfect way to begin. And then we jump down. It says, don't fret or worry. Instead of worrying, pray. Let petitions and praises shape your worries into prayers, letting God know your concerns. And that seemed perfect for spring cleaning and letting go. Then he goes on to say, I'd say you'll do best by filling your minds with meditating on things true, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious, the best, not the worst, the beautiful, not the ugly, things to praise, not things to curse. So if you're trying to spend an hour and 10 minutes alone in silence and not worrying about the negative, this is a very good passage. And then finally, the passage ends with, do that, and God will make everything work together, will work you into his most excellent harmonies. I love that closing, excellent harmonies. We use Lectio Divina as a spiritual tool at the beginning, so our group heard this passage 3 times. Because it was rather long, we would typically only do it twice. We added another read-through for it, and people then listened to the whole. They picked out words and things that might draw them in. And then finally, they're asked on the 3rd time to go a little bit deeper. And then they were excused. We had 2 practices for them. One was directly related to the process of letting go. And the other one was connected to something we had been doing here at St. George's all during Easter season. We had a butterfly on the cover of our bulletins. So we use that notion of the butterfly signifying resurrection and transformation as a subtext theme that ran through everything we did here on Sundays, but also on our morning apart. So since Sherry is a preschool director, she had this room set aside for people to make butterflies. They took paint on a piece of paper and dabbed it, and then of course you fold it over and open it up and you'll see some butterflies. So I think you'll see on the screen a few butterflies that people had made, and people enjoyed coming in here and doing that. Then the major task for people was, when they were ready, to come to a table outdoors where we had a succulent plant. Then we had a little bit of dirt if they needed it, but they were also given a little tiny ceramic bowl and a piece of yarn. And on that twine, they were to take a minimum of 1 or a maximum of 3. And what they did was just tie a knot in that twine to represent something they wished to let go. I have no clue how many people tied 1 knot or 3 knots. I didn't hover over them. That was just something that they did. And then they took that twine, placed it in the bottom of the ceramic bowl. They took their succulent, cleaned off some of the dirt, placed it in that bowl, pressed it down, and now that worry was planted in soil. It was buried, and hopefully from that worry, something will grow, and something that they can keep at home or in their office to remind them that that worry is no longer a part of their life, and that worry does not control any part of their living anymore. And then they took it into church, where they placed their succulent plant on the fabric that we had around the circle with a bunch of candles. And people at the end shared a little bit about their experience. People sometimes shared their journal entry that they made, or sometimes there was a snippet, a start of a poem that had to do with our subject. The people that attend these things really, really enjoy that quiet time. And there are so few places nowadays where a group can be quiet together. And the energy from that is really inspiring. I hope you enjoyed us sharing a little bit about our final A Morning Apart for the year. Spring cleaning, letting go. I hope that you think about doing something similar at your church. You know, you don't have to be a clergy person to do this sort of thing. Our entire A Morning Apart series was started by 2 members of our parish. Just be creative, be mindful, and slowly start to build and brand what this ministry is. And trust me, people will attend. I think there's a great need for quiet time in our lives right now, especially as it deals with community, deals with people in relationship with one another, and then that silence together, and finally the sharing. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next month. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell at the bottom to make sure that you're informed when I have a new video up and running that I wish to share with you. See you next month. God bless. Enjoy the beginning of summer. Get out amongst nature and let God speak to you through all of creation. See you soon. Bye-bye.